Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Hope you are well today. Let's jump into our cosmic weather. All right, starting off with space at spaceweather.com. Our solar wind is blowing at 387.7 kilometers per second. And our planetary K-index is quiet at the moment. It's at a 1. Within the next 24 hours, expected to be no higher than a 3. As you can see here, we have a good chance of having a X-class or an M-class flare today due to the activity that's taking place up on the sun. You could see 75% chance that there's going to be an M-class flare within the next 24 hours and a 30% chance of an X-class. Now, M-class flare is medium. Medium flare, X-class is the large flare. And with each one of them, there's 9 degrees of intensity. Now, as far as geomagnetic storm goes, 20 to 30% chance in the mid latitudes, 15% in the higher latitudes. Let me scroll back up here. And you could see the additional information here about just what I said about the chance of M-class and X-class flares. And this is off of sunspot AR 1429, which is the current active region, slowly turning to face the Earth. So this is what is being looked at the moment. Astrologically, we're dealing with two signs again, the moon and the sun. Sun sign is in Pisces, which is a water sign. So we have the water of Pisces, which is all water is emotions, love. We know how water operates. It can be still and calm. It can be wild and out of control. We like the calmness a little bit better. Anyway, that's the conscious mind. The unconscious mind is going from Leo into Virgo. Leo is a fire sign. Virgo is an earth sign. So we are somewhere between these two elements, fire and earth, unconsciously. Fire is a lot of creativity and ideas. Earth is the thing that is manifest when we put together all of the elements. Now we know how earth and water can interact. They can create mud, or it can create a nice gentle rain and water that provides the ground to grow. So there's a lot of ways when we look at the elements and how we mix them together that we can start to make sense. None of this is brain surgery. None of this. It's all very simple how we mix these elements, and we've been dealing with these elements our entire lives, from the moment we were born until right now, until the time when we leave this planet. We're going to be dealing with the elements. So it's just common sense when we look at them, how they operate. We understand these things. We just need to allow ourselves to remember that we do understand. So when we look at such things like this, we can understand the deeper aspects of what's really going on and how we best utilize that energy. Our current moon phase is almost to a full moon. It's 96% of the way there. It's called the waxing gibbous moon. And on the Dreamspell, we've made it to the 8th position on the wave spell here, right here. Position 8. The kin for today, as you can see, is the Earth. The guide for today above it is the dragon. And then you have the supporting cast members, the antipode on the left side here, which is the challenging kin. This is the hand. And the like-minded kin is the analog for today, which is the wind. And then underneath it, this unconscious or hidden power, which is called the occult power, is beneath it, and this is the seed. So we have all of these supporting energies all around what's going on for today, and then you add to that the moon's effect, which is the 8th tone, and the 8th tone is called the galactic tone of integrity, and altogether we have this phrase: I harmonize in order to evolve, modeling synchronicity. I seal the matrix of navigation with the galactic tone of integrity. I am guided by the power of birth. And on the Gregorian calendar, Tuesday, March 6th, 2012. Alright, very interesting how all this works. All this information is available. Just follow the links at the website, and you too will understand what's going on. Alright, that's our cosmic weather for today. Dirk Bradshaw's with us again. He has his report. This is the Cosmic News Weekly Report. Let's listen to what Dirk has to say. Dirk, over to you.
And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives?
Flying high above the planet Earth, this is the Cosmic News Weekly with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw, and this week, 3 doomsaying experts who foresee economic devastation ahead. Behind the mainstream Wall Street happy talk about more stable markets and improving economy are grim warnings of tough times ahead from a small group of doomsayers who warn that the worst of our financial crisis is still to come. Harry Dent, author of the new book, The Great Crash Ahead, says another stock market crash is coming due to a bad ending to the global debt bubble. He has pulled back on his earlier prediction of a crash in 2012 as central banks around the world have been flooding markets with money, giving stocks an artificial short-term boost. But a crash is a-coming in 2013 or 2014, he warns. This will be a repeat of 2008-2009, only bigger when it finally hits, Dent told USA Today. Gerald Cayente Salente, a trend forecaster at the Trends Research Institute, says America should brace themselves for an economic 9/11 due to policymakers' inability to solve the world's financial and economic woes. The coming meltdown, he predicts, will lead to a growing social unrest and anti-government sentiments, a U.S. dollar with far less purchasing power, and more people out of work. Salente won't rule out another financial panic that could spark enough fear to cause a run on the nation's banks by depositors. That risk could cause the government to invoke economic martial law and call a bank holiday and close banks as it did during the Great Depression. We see some kind of threat of that magnitude, Salente, publisher of the Trends Journal newsletter, warned in an interview. And finally, Robert Prechter, author of Conquest the Crash, first published in 2002 and updated in 2009, is still bearish. He says today's economy has similarities to the Great Depression and warns that 1930s-style deflation is still poised to cause financial havoc. Prechter predicts that the major U.S. stock indexes such as the Dow Jones Industrial and Standard & Poor 500 will plunge below their bear market lows hit in March 2009 during the last financial crisis. The brief recovery will fail as it did in the 1930s, he warns. Do you guys remember that story about the physicist a couple years ago who shocked the scientific world by claiming to have shown particles could move faster than the speed of light? Well, they have gone on to admit that it was a huge mistake due to a faulty wire connection. It was Albert Einstein who proposed more than 100 years ago that nothing could travel faster than the speed of light. Einstein's theory of special relativity, proposed in 1905, states that nothing in the universe can travel faster than the speed of light in a vacuum. But researchers at the CERN lab near Geneva claimed that they had recorded neutrinos, a type of tiny particle, traveling faster than the barrier of 186,282 miles per second. Well, now it seems Einstein's reputation has been restored after a source close to the experiment told the U.S. journal Science Insider that a bad connection between a GPS unit and a computer may be to blame. Scientists at CERN claimed that the neutrinos traveled 60 nanoseconds earlier than the 2.3 milliseconds taken by light. The report in the Science Insider said that a 60 nanosecond discrepancy appears to come from a bad connection between a fiber optic cable that connects the GPS receiver used to correct the timing of the neutrino's flight and electronic card in a computer. After tightening the connection and then measuring the time it takes data to travel the length of the fiber, researchers found that the data arrived 60 nanoseconds earlier than assumed. Since this time is subtracted from the overall time of flight, it appears to explain the early arrival of the neutrinos. New data, however, will be needed to confirm this hypothesis. And finally, one of the biggest debates in archaeology is what destroyed the extensive, highly advanced Mayan civilization 1,000 years ago. It's known that the empire went through a long collapse from roughly 800 to 1,000, leaving behind a network of pyramids and monumental architecture in the Yucatan jungles. But why? We have our educated guesses, and one of the most widely believed theories is that some kind of climate catastrophe drove the Maya to abandon their city in droves. What really happened to the Maya civilization? What really destroyed the Maya civilization? Were the Maya brought down by a small shift in climate, or were there complicated political issues involved as well? Archaeologists explain that the Maya were at war for much of the collapse period, and indeed had enormous wars throughout much of their history. So, it wasn't simply a mild drought that destroyed the empire, but that the empire also destroyed itself, the way many great European and Asian powers have, by waging war until their resources were depleted and no willing soldiers were left. The Maya probably weren't just passive victims of climate change. They were a powerful polity spread across huge swaths of the Yucatan. They had advanced architectural techniques, and new studies of the region around Maya Center Caracol reveal that they remolded much of the land in the area to make way for farms, roads, and homes. Given their technological sophistication, it's possible that the Mayans might have survived the drought if it hadn't been a war taxing their resources. In other words, the Mayan Empire's demise may have resulted from a mix of social and environmental factors, and would have been far more complex than mere food shortages due to drought. Well, that's all she wrote for this week. I see the fat lady. She's getting off the stage. She's looking right at me. I need to go put her to bed. For the Cosmic News Weekly, I'm Dirk Bradshaw. I return you now to Joshua Poet and First Contact. This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. This is Josh. This is the UFO News for today. Let's start off. Our first sighting takes us to China. 3 UFOs caught on video. Let's check it out. All right. This comes to us from UK Urban Media. Alright, there we go. We got 1 light, 2 lights, and look at there's a 3rd light right there. They look like 3 lights on a triangular object. Or 3 things spread apart in a way that they look like they're part of a similar object. Alright. And that's... there we go. Gets a good shot of it right there. Alright, footage is up online for you to check it out. Our next story takes us over to Arizona. UFO caught on Google Earth map close up in Arizona, March 1st. Alright, this is the image in question. Alright, this is when it's a little more zoomed out, what we're going to be seeing. and even more so. Alright, now, let's see. I have seen over 25 different UFOs reported on Google Earth, and 4 of them by me personally. All, mind you, all of them have been deleted by Google. They are part of the cover-up that keeps the public in the dark. And to prove it, this sighting will also be gone in 3 to 6 months. The last one I reported was Cape of Good Hope, which was deleted just 2.5 months after me and a few others made a video and put it on YouTube. Google and the U.S. government work hand in hand. Eyewitness states, type in 32.866436 114.385.992 in Google. You will see Laguna AAF, the Yuma Proving Grounds Airfield. The taxiway to the east, about a quarter of the way up, you see a weird object. Reply if you found it and your thoughts as what it might be. Alright, here's a video so we can see exactly what's going on here. That's what he types in. There's the information. There's the Proving Grounds. And there's the zoom in of it. And as it zooms in, look at that. Alright, now that is an interesting looking object, and there it is. Right there on what would appear to be roadway or runway at their Proving Grounds. Alright, next story. This is over Indiana on March 2nd. Let's take a look at what we have here. Alright, we're going to come back. We're going to have to come back to that one momentarily. Let's jump over here. This is UFOs hovering above Dallas in Texas on the 4th of March. This is a 45-minute long clip flying above Dallas, recorded on Sunday the 4th. Alright, hold on a second here. Let me just jump over here. Okay. So this is the footage we've got over Texas. Right, here's a couple lights. Alright, so these are the lights in question that's being checked out here. So they're there for some time. The video is over, it's 45 minutes in length, so I'm going to leave that to you to check it out on your own, but that's what we're looking at. Now over to the sighting in Indiana. Here's what we have here. There you go. You can see right off the bat. 2 lights up in the sky there. And they just appear to be sitting there, not doing too much else. Alright. Very good. And one last story here. Series of lights reported hovering over U.S. Marine base in Afghanistan. An American witness inside U.S. Marine Corps base Camp Leatherneck in Afghanistan reports that there were many people watching a series of 7 equally spaced lights in the sky and appeared and reappeared during one evening, according to recent testimony from the MUFON UFO Witness Reporting Database. We were all in our office on Camp Leatherneck when we were told to come outside and see these really cool lights in the sky, the witness stated. There were many witnesses to the event. I know that all of my friends on Facebook that were with us saw the same thing. They were up there long enough that people were leaving. The lights were hovering in place, but they disappeared and reappeared again. They were up there for a long time without moving. They went away for a while, then came back. They didn't move or blink or make any noise. It looked like they were really high up there, but there was nothing to base that on. Pretty cool event. The witness provided 2 images with the MUFON report. So let's take a look at these images. Alright, here's the first one. See these series of lights that they were looking at. And apparently that's the only image we have here. So there we go. That's what we got. Alright. That is it for the moment. That's our UFO news for today. Time to jump away to a song.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
Okay. All right, I'm back. So, first thing I want to bring your attention to is the petition that we talked about last week. Stephen Bassett was on the show talking about this UFO Petition 2, Disclosure Petition 2, the Rockefeller Initiative. Immediately investigate UFO ET disclosure efforts during the Clinton administration. The Rockefeller Initiative, Disclosure Petition 2. Now, this petition is up here to the 24th. As you can see, it only has 5,000 signatures, 5,325 so far. It needs 19,675 more to go. This number is not enough, folks. Not enough. There's more than 5,000 people out there who believe and would like to see the UFO information disclosed. So we need to get this number up higher, folks. Time is running out. We've only got till the 24th, so let's not wait till the last minute, okay? If you know anybody who has not signed this petition, please forward on this link to them. If you have not signed this petition, please sign this petition. You want disclosure to happen? This is an active thing that everybody can do to make this move along. By getting the signatures, the White House is going to have to make a response. So we need these signatures. Again, the link is on the web page. Go there, click on the link to go to this petition. It's at wethepeople.gov or whitehouse.gov, and it's called Disclosure Petition 2. All right? Please sign that. Pass it along. Share it on Facebook. Get others to sign it as well. That would be awesome. All right. Our next information here, we're going to go and we're going to do another story about Ron Paul. Today is Super Tuesday, as you know, which means that there are a number of states that are out there running their primaries and caucuses today. And out of today will be, the results will go up a bit more, because instead of just seeing one caucus or primary at a time, now we get a whole group of them, so we can find out what a bunch of states think, and we'll get a lot more information about what happened later tonight. Let's listen to what Dr. Paul says. This isn't specifically about the primary or caucuses today. This is about something that we all know, gasoline. Here we go.
All right, tomorrow Super Tuesday, and the GOP candidates duking it out over these high gas prices. It started when Newt Gingrich said that he could get prices back below $2.50 a gallon. Now Ron Paul is chiming in.
We heard some of the other candidates say, if I can be president, I'm going to get gasoline down to $2 or $2.50 or down. And I said, yeah, but I can get it down to a dime.
All right, Ron Paul on the phone with us right now. Ron Paul, you piqued my curiosity. How would you get it down to a dime?
All you have to do is price the gasoline in the old silver money, the old dollar, before they gave up on a silver dollar. A silver dime, with its actual value is over $3 and maybe more depending on the day, what the price of silver is on that particular day. But, in real money, the gasoline prices are actually going down. And that was what I, used the other day with Bernanke. When he started at the Fed, an ounce of silver bought 4 gallons of gasoline. Now an ounce of silver buys 11 gallons of gasoline. So it's the money issue. There are other factors, too. I don't deny that supply and demand of the oil is very important, too, and the potential war in the Middle East and with Iran. That's really important, too. But overall, see, when Gingrich says he's going to get down to a couple dollars, he's saying, well, we're going to increase the supply so tremendously we're going to bring it down. But if he doesn't increase the value of the currency, he can't do it.
Well, you just hit on something that's been a big focus on this show, Congressman, so I don't know whether that might have you change your position on this, because it has been a big focus, that the problem isn't escalating oil prices or gas prices. The problem is our weak dollar and the fact that oil being priced in dollars, you need more dollars to buy that oil. Having said that, would you revert then to a currency, a gold standard type system where you peg the currency to something more solid? Is that what this is about? or what? Explain that.
Yeah, no, that is what it should be. And, of course, I've argued that case for a long, long time. And I think that what we should do in this country, because they're not going to change over rather quickly, they're going to wait until it gets much worse, we ought to at least be able to use a parallel currency. Internationally, you can. But internationally, they're still using the dollar predominantly. The people are drifting from the dollar. They're not using the dollar as a reserve as much as they used to. So, and there's always these rumors that go around, well, you know, Iraq wanted to use the euro, or they want to use gold, and China wants to use something else. And that's a big deal, because that would really play havoc with the dollar. If more and more people left the dollar as a reserve currency, our problems would be much worse. The price of fuel and oil is going to go up much higher in terms of dollars. So, but no matter
but
how
that
hard we
dollar
work,
thing, you're so smart. You can leave me in your wake here. So if you don't mind, the problem with the dollar is probably indicative of the problem in Washington, right? The ability to control our finances, spending much more than we have, and we become sort of this global currency laughing stock. The only thing saving us, it would seem, is that there are greater laughing stocks out there. So by comparison, we look better. But then if Washington doesn't get its act together and get this spending under control, doesn't this mean, regardless, assuming we don't change what our peg is to the dollar, that oil, gas is going to get a lot more expensive, and that inflation is going to be a lot more of a problem?
Absolutely. I think that is the case, and that's what I've been warning about. The other thing people don't generally understand is, well, if the oil prices and gasoline's going up, other things are going down. You know, you might have prices go down with your computers. So if inflation of the money supply always increased all prices and wages equally, it wouldn't be a big deal. But it goes in different areas, and because energy is so important, it's international, or whether it's the price of the cost of medical care or education or housing, money goes into certain areas and boosts these prices more so. But no, you cannot get control of this if you don't control the dollar. But my argument also is, Bernanke, and the Federal Reserve Chairman has said this for the 30 years that I've been around and dealing with this. They always say, well, if Congress didn't spend so much money and have so much debt, we wouldn't have to have such a hard job, you know, protecting the value of the dollar. But if the Fed wouldn't monetize the debt, the Congress couldn't spend the money.
Well, there is that. There is that. Congressman, thank you very much. Always good having you.
Thanks a lot.
Ron.
All right, let me show you something here on this video. I brought this up to you before, but check out down here. Remember I told you that these videos at YouTube, for some reason, they all seem to cap out or stop for a while at the 300 range? Well, here we go. 303 views on this video. But look, 716 likes and 5 dislikes. 716 likes. That means 716 people liked it but didn't even watch this. You know, either that's what happened or numbers are being fudged. I'm going to go with the numbers being fudged simply because, as we point this out, we're always seeing the same series of numbers. It's always in the 300, 302, 305, somewhere within there. Very weird that the numbers always end in that area, and very weird that we're always seeing a situation where there's more likes than dislikes. I'll show you another instance of it on a video we're going to play in a little bit. Now, this story here is about 6 Romney family members hit the campaign trail for Ron Paul. That's right, this comes to us from Steve Watson at InfoWars. No less than 6 relatives of presidential candidate Mitt Romney have joined the campaign trail in the race for the GOP nomination, but they're not supporting the former Massachusetts governor. They're campaigning for Texas Congressman Ron Paul. 3 of Romney's relatives will even speak at Idaho caucus sites declaring their support for Paul in a story that is sure to create buzz around Paul's campaign as he looks to pick up his first caucus win on Super Tuesday. The Paul campaign issued a press release Monday introducing 5 Romney relatives, then issued another release shortly afterward noting a 6th. Travis Romney, Troy Romney, and Chad Romney, all cousins of Mitt Romney, will speak before Ron Paul crowds in Idaho today. Ty Romney and Jared Romney, whose grandfathers are cousins of former Michigan Governor George Romney, the father of Mitt Romney, have also declared their support for Paul. I don't dislike Mitt at all, Chad Romney, pictured above, said. He seems like a nice guy. He just doesn't understand the Constitution like Ron Paul. It's Ron Paul or bust, Chad Romney added. Not a lot of people will ask me if I'm related, he said, and I always say yes, I'm related, but I vote for Ron Paul. When asked who would vote for the ticket returns out to be Romney versus Obama, Chad said, I don't know if I'd vote for either one of them. I just write Ron Paul in there. I support Ron Paul because he defends the Constitution, loves America, and understands what it means to be an American, including the right to live your life any way you want, as long as you respect others, says Travis Romney, a second cousin once removed from the former Massachusetts governor. Ty Romney, an attorney in Montana, added, Ron Paul is honest. It's time to take stand for honesty. Doesn't matter whether the truth is popular or not. I know that Ron Paul will always maintain a true principle, and I endorse that degree of integrity. Paul's campaign suggests that the endorsement shows the congressman can win Mormon voters, noting that the Romneys are now member of the Latter-day Saints for Ron Paul nationwide coalition. Paul previously reached support from Rick Santorum's nephew, John Carver, who described his uncle as a big government, status quo politician while urging Americans to vote for Ron Paul. So there you go. So just because they're related doesn't mean they go with the policies. All right, let's take a look at what's going on. This is a story. It's kind of a recap of what went on last week, but it's good for you to have this recap because this is real information going on out there, and unfortunately, it's not getting out in a big way. Last week, Sheriff Joe revealed information and results from an investigation, an ongoing investigation that his cold case posse is doing about Obama and his eligibility. They found and they determined from their investigation thus far that the certificate, the long form birth certificate, and the selective service card that Obama presented, both of these are absolutely forged documents. That's not a good thing for the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States, to have documents that are forged that claim and show that he would be eligible to run in this, to be in this presidential position. Nonetheless, it's out there. We need to deal with it and figure out a way how we are going to deal with it. This is an update of that situation, so I'm going to go ahead and play this for you so you can refresh yourself on what actually happened. Here we go.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio says he suspects President Obama's birth certificate is a fake.
We believe probable cause exists indicating that forgery and fraud may have been committed.
Arpaio says his team of volunteer investigators believes President Obama's birth certificate is computer generated, and they say they have a person of interest that may be involved in that hoax.
So what is next? CBS 5's Heather Moore has been trying to get the answer to that question all night. Heather, what did you come up with?
Well, Catherine and Cena, the sheriff says maybe Congress needs to take this on next. It all started up again when the Tea Party of Surprise asked Sheriff Joe Arpaio to investigate. He in turn asked his volunteer cold case posse to dig in. Now, we spoke with the head of that team this afternoon who refused to talk to us about that so-called person of interest. However, he did say this may be the biggest scandal perpetrated on the American people. One of the biggest scandals, rather, perpetrated on the American people.
Oh my God. Nobody wanted this. You know, nobody wants to think this is happening, you know, in their country.
Lead investigator Michael Zullo claims the group didn't set out to take down the president.
Our goal in the beginning was to prove this document authentic. The problem is the evidence kept taking us somewhere else.
He says it took 6 months and 2,200 hours to come to the conclusion that President Obama's birth certificate from Hawaii, released by the White House last April, was manufactured.
It never was a paper document. It was literally created in the mind of a computer and resides on cyberspace.
The White House responded today by pointing to the president's comments last year regarding the same issue.
We're not going to be able to solve our problems if we get distracted by sideshows and carnival barkers.
This is your face, your reputation, your name in the front of this investigation. How comfortable are you making these allegations?
I'm very comfortable because we did seek the advice of experts regarding this. You can build the document. We could take the document apart. out of the same file released by the White House. You can't do that if you just scan in a birth certificate or any other document.
So what do you say to the naysayers? And there are a lot of critics out there saying this is all, you know, a bunch of BS.
Prove it. We did. We proved our point. That document's created.
And from here, Sheriff Arpaio may look for a congressional investigation. We reached out to every member of Arizona's congressional delegation in Washington today. Only Representative Jeff Flake's office got back to us saying that he believes that President Barack Obama is a U.S. citizen and was born here in the United States. Reporting live in Phoenix, I'm Heather Moore, CBS 5 News.
Heather, thank you. So, how did they reach that conclusion? Here's more now from Investigator Zulu at today's press conference.
Mr. Obama's birth certificate, there are approximately 8 or 9 links and layers. Links and layers are indicative of a document being built.
The birth certificate was compared to a controlled document that investigators scanned into a computer. After close examination, Zulu said there were several inconsistencies between the two. One had to do with the so-called green safety paper. Investigators say it should be seen on the onset of the birth certificate, but they determined it was the last element applied to the document. Zulu also claims the register and date stamps can be moved around. He says if the document was authentic, he wouldn't be able to do that.
Whoever created this document imported that register stamp and that date stamp, laid it on a white background, and then filled in the green safety paper around it.
Zulu tells us Obama's birth certificate failed every test they put it through. All 6 videos explaining the steps of the investigation were uploaded to YouTube by the user Tea Party Power Hour.
CBS 5 viewers are speaking their minds on this one. Penny wrote, "What the heck is going on with this state? We have a disrespectful governor and a sheriff that is going rogue. Has everyone in power in Arizona lost their ever-loving minds? For Pete's sake, we have a lot bigger problems than this." Margie says the birth certificate should have been presented before Obama ever ran for president. Why wasn't it? He is undermining our country in a multitude of ways that the media refuses to expose. I wish I could trust our president, just can't. Susan chimed in, "It's costing us nothing to investigate Obama. I think he's a fraud. Did it occur to anyone that Obama is pushing amnesty so hard because he's illegal? I say more power to Sheriff Arpaio." Well, this story is just beginning to unfold. Stay with CBS 5 News for the most in-depth coverage on Arpaio's investigation into the president. And don't forget to check out our website, cbs5az.com, for updates.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
All right, and Obama has something to hide. We all know that because he keeps trying to hide it. Now, I know there's a lot of you out there, or a lot of folks out there that don't want to believe this. They don't want to believe, and they think this is a waste of time. I suggest to you that you're not thinking clearly. You've been brainwashed too much by the mainstream media, which includes Fox News. And you're just not seeing clearly. And what you need to do is you need to pay more attention because it is important. Bills are being passed by a president that shouldn't be in office. Anyway, moving along. U.S. Congress expands authoritarian anti-protest law. Defend democratic rights. Support the Socialist Equality Party election campaign. For more information, get involved. Click right there. A bill passed Monday in the House of U.S. Representatives and Thursday in the Senate would expand existing anti-protest laws that make it a felony, a serious criminal offense punishable by a lengthy prison term to enter or remain in a designated area as restricted. The bill, H.R. 347 of the Federal Restricted Buildings and Grounds Improvement Act of 2011, was passed by unanimous consent in the Senate, while only Ron Paul and 2 other Republicans voted against the bill in the House of Representatives. The bill passed 388 to 3. Not a single Democrat politician voted against the bill. The virtually unanimous passage of H.R. 347 starkly exposes the fact that despite the posturing, the Democrats and the Republicans stand shoulder to shoulder with the corporate and financial oligarchy, which regarded last year's popular protests against social inequality with a mixture of fear and hostility. H.R. 347 expands an existing federal criminal statute, Title 18, Section 1752 of the United States Code, or the Restricted Buildings or Grounds Law. The law was originally passed in 1971 and was last amended in 2006. Under existing law, the areas that qualify as restricted are defined in extremely vague and broad terms. Restricted areas can include a building or ground where the president or other person protected by the Secret Service is or will be temporarily visiting, and a building or grounds restricted in conjunction with an event designated as a special event or national significant. The Secret Service provides bodyguards not just to the U.S. president, but to a broad layer of top figures in the political establishment, including presidential candidates, foreign dignitaries. What constitutes an event or national significance is left to the discretion of the Department of Homeland Security. The occasion for virtually any large protest can be designated by the Department of Homeland Security as an event of national significance, making any demonstration in the vicinity illegal. There's more to the article. You need to read this. But when it gets into this, things like the protests, the Occupy protests, they could throw this right in here. Folks, you're not paying attention out there. Some of you are, but to the ones that aren't paying attention, laws are being passed because you are ignorantly disregarding what is going on in life. You are only caring about yourself and you're being too selfish. You need to stop it. You need to pay more attention if you're not paying attention. It's very important. These things are going on, and one day you're going to wake up and you're going to realize that the world around you has changed drastically, and you're going to wonder how. Well, look in the mirror and you'll be able to realize that some of you might have actually voted and supported the very things that are going to hold you in prison. The only way you're going to get past that is for those of you who are not paying attention to somehow start paying attention. And if you know somebody, if you are paying attention, which I know a lot of you are who are watching this show, you need to nudge those a little bit harder who aren't. You need to wake them up because there's too much going on. It's too many important things at stake. This story here, Big Sis and DHS move on campus. The Department of Homeland Security has moved its surveillance operations on campus. On Thursday of last week, DHS boss Janet Napolitano appointed University of Montana President Royce Engstrom to a newly formed council, the Homeland Security Advisory Council. It is made up of 19 universities and college heads from around the country, and it will advise the department on a wide range of issues of how the DHS can recruit from campuses to emergency preparedness, according to the Kaiman, a University of Montana campus newspaper. The new council will meet quarterly, according to the Federal Register, and appointees will serve for 2, 3, or 4 years. It's an opportunity to have a conversation about how the education can be involved in national security. The DHS insisted the new council is not about monitoring students and professors, but is about making the academic community aware of their surroundings. And just because the DHS insisted it's not about monitoring students, guess what we have to do? That's right. If they say it's not about that, we have to realize that's exactly what it's about. The Department of Homeland Security, they claim to be a government agency that's a friend of the people. They're not a friend of the American people. They're not by any stretch of the imagination. This is exactly what they want to do. They want to get on campuses and they want to monitor. If they were an honest organization, I'd be the first to tell you. But there are so many stories about their corruption and the lies that come out of this woman and this agency that it's hard to say that they are an agency of integrity. They want to continue to monitor you. How long are you going to allow that to go on? I don't know. But some of you seem to like it. So, hey, if you don't mind, then I guess you don't mind. Finally, the last story for today is Dutch Sins. And this is about some plumes that are streaming from a variety of areas in the Midwest. Now, there are those naysayers out there who say these are just fires, but if that's the case, then there's a lot of people setting fires all around, and this seems to be something else. So rather than just dismissing this, I think it's important that we look at this, because the earth itself is living and breathing in groaning with pain, and these could be part of the earth communicating something is wrong. Listen to this, see what you think.
Hey everybody, Dutch Sense here. 6:42 p.m. Central Time on Monday, March 5th, 2012. There's something going on here on College of DuPage I've got to show you. The plumes over the past few days, well, if there was any debate as to whether or not they were fires, I think this is going to settle the debate, okay? This is not good news. I want to go ahead and just tell you that right now, what I'm getting at. So, I want to show you, roughly at sunset time, what occurred across the entire Midwest. The chances of these all being fires breaking out at the exact same time are absolutely impossible. Now, I want to show you what it is. Watch. Okay, I'm going to bring it forward one at a time, and watch how many of these kick off. Watch. Okay, you got Oklahoma, southern Missouri, central Arkansas, Mississippi. Okay? See that? Okay, let me take it back. Look at all these. These are not fires, not all at once. No way. We're talking starting at 1715, down in the bottom timestamp corner here, and then we'll bring it forward. Watch. Starting at 1750, and then by 1901, you see all these plumes kick off. Boom, and then it goes into sunset. Now this is happening on a daily basis at this time. Okay? Now either they're going out and starting multiple hundreds of fires all at once across multiple states, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi. Let's go ahead and look at Louisiana as well, since we can't see it in that shot. And we'll do the same thing, a visible satellite image for the last 48 images. Wow, okay, look at this. Look at this. Going down into Texas, and even down here into southern Mississippi. Alright, see those? One blowing one way, one blowing the other. Surface level winds. Look at that. There is no way these are all fires, especially these big poofs that come off down here in central Louisiana. I'm going to go out to a 2 km view of the entire region here. This is absolutely phenomenal to see. It really is. Alright, that was a infrared image. Here's the visible. Look at that. Okay, let's just take it off one at a time and bring it back. Look at all these, guys. Just want you to see this. Watch right in this region here. The chances of these all being fires breaking out at the exact same time are absolutely impossible. I'm counting multiples in southern Missouri, multiples here, multiples here, multiples here, multiples here, all at the same time. Starting in the afternoon, and they'll be gone by the morning. And the chances of these all being wildfires and being gone by the AM with no smoke, I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and start the whole thing now. You can just go ahead and watch it. You see half the day, throughout the night, into the morning, and half the day, there's no plumes at all. And then they literally kick off into a massive series. I mean, we're talking at least a couple hundred, if it looks like. Maybe not 100, maybe less than 100, but definitely more than 30 or 40. Amazing. I haven't seen anything like this. And even in wildfire season, I mean, really, folks, I cannot stress this enough. We are, I think, seeing some kind of geologic disturbance where the magma chamber under the North American craton is showing pressure, and it's causing the water table to steam. At first, I thought it might be fracking areas, but this is too wide. This is too big of an area. This says to me, entire area of continent showing activity. Again, not wildfire. It's going down into, well-moistured areas, flooding amounts of rain. And then we had huge storms blow through here. These would have kicked off yesterday, all right? Yesterday there was nothing here. The day before there was a few small ones here. Now the whole area is going. Hang in there, folks. If you get any confirmations on this, let me know. But I just wanted to show you this for sure. 100% is occurring. Let's go back in on the 1 km radar. and we'll look. Well, let's take this right here and just kind of get a shot of the whole area. Okay. And we'll stop it right there and bring it forward a couple images. It's amazing to see, folks.
All right, very good. Something to keep an eye on. You know, it just occurs to me that debunkers, those whose job is to simply go around and be skeptics and debunk things, they really screw a lot of things up, because sometimes they just go out there just to debunk for the sake of not having nothing else to do. And they say that these things are fires, and then they go and they spread rumors, or other events take place, like the birther event, and you got people saying, oh, this isn't true, based on no knowledge, based on absolutely no knowledge about the situation, other than their loyalty to a party which is lying to them, which they're in denial about. I mean, on and on and on. We have these skeptics. I mean, is our country really filled with that many stupid people? I mean, for real, I don't mean to offend anybody, but do we have that many brain-dead people in this country that we can't get through solving a problem because there's not enough people who have the intelligence to be able to fix the problem? I mean, it's a good question, and I hope that you see it as a good question, because the way that schools are teaching kids and teaching people things, there's not a lot of education that is really being taught in a proper way. People are being misinformed. You can't turn on the television and expect that you're going to learn from what's going on in the news, because they're not being honest with you. The mainstream news isn't. They're not telling you what's really going on. They're telling you what you need to hear, because the corporations that control them are telling them what they need to hear. Yet a lot of Americans can't seem to see past that. And even though there are those like this show and many others who tell you continuously what's going on, there's still a lot of Americans who don't believe that and can't seem to understand that. Just like there's still a lot of Americans who can't seem to grasp the whole 9/11 situation. Even though the information is there, there are still many Americans who won't even look at it because of fear of what they would see, because there's such a denial. Well, the only way we're going to solve the problems in this country is if we step past our denial, and if we take a good hard look at what's going on. There's some problems, folks. Problems with our economy, problems with society, problems with our education system, and problems with the earth. And if we go through denying that all of these things exist, and we think everything's hunky-dory and good, we're going to wake up one day and there's going to even be a bigger problem, because we're not going to be able to sweep it all under the carpet. So we need to pay attention. If you're paying attention, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. But if you know others that aren't paying attention, please wake them up. Tap them on the shoulder. Do something. If you yourself are thinking that maybe you're not paying attention, do something to wake yourself up. I don't know what. Throw some cold water on your face. Slap yourself a couple of times. Figure out some way to get yourself paying attention, because there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, and the powers that be, who are supposed to be your friends, they're not your friends. They're not being honest with you, and you need to pay attention, because in some of this, it's a life and death situation. And unless people pay attention, you know, you can't really complain then when something bad happens, because there's enough people out there telling you over and over and over again, pay attention. All right. Now, finally, we've come to the end of our show. This is the part for our prayer and our meditation. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and close your eyes and relax. Close your eyes and relax. All right. I want you to imagine that you are seated in a large auditorium. And up in the stage, someone is talking. And they don't have a microphone. They are just talking. And they are exposing the truths of the universe to everybody in the audience. And the only way that you, from where you are seated, can understand what is going on is you really have to pay attention. You have to find a way to eliminate the distractions. So you have to listen very carefully. And as you pay attention and listen carefully, you find that the distractions dissipate. And you are able to focus in on exactly what it is you need to focus in on. And once you are focused in, you realize that the distractions are only there to keep you from seeing and knowing the information you need to know. And the distractions can easily be bypassed by simply stepping around them, walking past them, ignoring them. And you realize that when we learn to ignore the distractions, whatever they may be or from wherever they are coming, when we learn to ignore these distractions, we're able to stay focused. It's like being in a race car. As you're driving along, you can't pay attention to every little distraction. You have to stay focused on the road ahead. Because if you pay attention to everything else other than where you are going, you're just going to crash. Now it's important to know that even though we are learning to avoid the distractions, we still need to be aware that they are there. And that is the fine line. Because by being aware of their presence, we can move around them. Because sometimes distractions occur and we don't know where they come from. So pay attention and you will know. You will be aware. And you will be able to take the step necessary. So imagine yourself now stepping around all the distractions in life. And as you do, your hearing becomes very clear. Your eyesight becomes very clear. And the information you receive becomes very clear. And you realize how simple and easy it is just to pay attention. Let's share that ability to step past distractions. Let's share this with everyone around the planet to encourage everyone else to do exactly the same. And let's finally think a good thought for everyone around the planet. And as we do, we'll bring our energy and attention back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. All right, there you have it. The end of another show. That's our prayer and our meditation for today. Thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure as always to be able to be doing this show. And that's it. That's all I got for today. So I'll be back tomorrow with more news information. Be safe today. Look past the distractions around you, and you'll be amazed at what you find. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.